Hello, everybody. Back with another video. I just built a Cobi Mig 17 Fresco. Oh, the instruction manual. Excuse me. The fake 3D effect. Ooh, just kidding. Um, Problems, issues, none. 577 pieces. No bad parts, no missing parts. In fact, everything went very smoothly. I moved as slowly as I could on this, and here's the actual plane to come up with probably one of my best builds from one of their kits. It's a very nice plane, very well put together. The landing gear comes off, which I'll show you in a second. Once again, I like that Cobi does this. I'm removing the landing gear, corgi style of placing the landing gear on their planes. Oh, this isn't going to come out again. Bear with me for a second. Oh, this is not professional, but I'm going to leave that part there. Here's a plane without the landing gear, minus part of the front landing gear that's stuck on it, but overall very nice blending of parts and stuff. Everything came out pretty good. I had a little bit of a narrative on it because I did a little bit of research, hoping to make this a little bit better video as far as what we have. Bear with me for a second here. Okay. This plane, the MiG 17 Fresco, was developed as a development of the MiG 15. The MiG 15 had bad handling characteristics at high speed. I think top speed was 680 miles an hour on it. Well, this plane had some improvements. It had one more of these fences put on. And this part here had this slat where instead of it going totally on an angle all the way across, it squares off there, which gave it better handling characteristics and enabled it to go supersonic in a shallow dive. It had an improved version of the, what's that engine called? The Klimov WK1F turbojet, basically the Rolls Royce Neen, which was not got by any ill means and snuck into the Soviet Union. Britain, because of Soviet Union, U.S. were all allies during the war, shared jet technology with both the U.S. and the Soviets. And what happened was the slanted wings, 45-degree angle wings, and other features here, which you also see on the F-86 Sabre, which we got and the Soviets got from German research documentation that was secured, combined with the British engines, basically powered and formed these early jets. This plane was actually a very good plane. For the simple reason was it was good. It did what you wanted it to do. I mean, it didn't do anything to spoil you. It was designed basically to intercept bombers, like the MiG 15 was. It was a little bit faster. Top speed is 711 miles an hour. Rate of climb of about 12,800 feet per minute. Ceiling of 54,000 feet. Top speed is 711 miles an hour. It could go about 1,200 miles, so it had a pretty good range, and could have drop tanks on it. So things that you didn't see on the MiG 15, you seen on this. And when these planes were encountered, they were very good aircraft for what they were and what they were intended to be. They were not some pile of junk or slouch. They were a force to be reckoned with. And what this plane had was it was subsonic, so it could fly slow and it could turn tight. It could maneuver tight. Didn't have speed to go after the newer sophisticated planes coming out, but those planes were not made for battles of maneuver, which this plane still could do because the MiG-15 was designed for battles of maneuver. Oh, any other little oddball notes on here? They license built these planes in China, Poland, Czechoslovakia after the war, and then they're also manufactured in the Soviet Union. A lot of countries wound up using this plane. Middle Eastern countries, Egypt, um, the other Arab states that were opposing Israel in the 50s and the 60s, actually in the 40s when Israel was formed as a state, would encounter this plane. But we would encounter it big time in Vietnam. Why? Because this was basically Vietnam's first fighter plane that they had, jet fighter plane. A bunch of pilots went up to Russia and to China to learn how to fly and train how to fly these. And I'm looking at some notes I made on this. 52 North Vietnamese pilots went to China and the Soviet Union in 1960 to train on how to fly this plane. They returned to Vietnam in 1962, and Moscow donated 36 of these MiG 17s to serve in the North Vietnamese Air Force. So they went to Hanoi in 1964. February 1964, actually, they went into service and served the North Vietnamese People's Liberation Army Air Force, or whatever they called it, the North Vietnamese Air Force, and split the pilots into two squadrons, a 921st and a 923rd. They flew from 65 to 72 when we stopped actual combat in Vietnam, and they claimed 71 victories against a wide range of American aircraft. 61 of these planes were shot down, but they shot down more American planes, a lot of sophisticated planes, F-4 Phantoms, which I do not have handy to use as an illustrative for this. I also don't have the Thunder Chief because there's not a model of it. The closest that I could get would be, which I think would be the next video, is I do have an F-104 Starfighter, and they did encounter each other. They did not dogfight. The Starfighter is an extremely fast plane, so it was able to kind of just do what it wanted to do and zip in and out and get out of combat really quick. This plane, though, I mean, was basically point air defense. They did have the MiG-21, but most of their stuff was done with this plane. This plane was their bread and butter fighter plane, and they had, I believe, two of the pilots were shot down six each. They had two aces that flew this plane. An ace would shot down 5 planes, so there were two North Vietnamese aces that shot down a total of 12 American planes, 6 apiece between them. So it was a very active aircraft in the Vietnam War. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little doodle around info searching, and I am gonna probably tomorrow I'll come up with a quick video using this in the F-104 to give you kind of a demonstrative look of how they would have looked in combat. The F-104 actually I think is a bit smaller than this, longer fuselage and such. But the F-104 is a plane capable of almost 1,500 miles an hour, almost twice as fast as this thing, and it's a Mach 2 fighter plane. This thing can't even go supersonic unless it's in a shallow dive. So it'd be kind of an interesting thing. The whole thing was that these planes would have had to lure the supersonic and Mach 2 fighter planes to come into a low turning battle. And that's where the design of this plane came in handy, because it was able to turn real tight, and it had guns, cannon. It did not have to rely on missiles, heat-seeking missiles or electronic missiles that could fail over the jungles of Vietnam. Get them in range, shoot them down with a cannon, and they got some kills. And that's what they did with this plane. This plane was very good, very durable at that. 61 of them were shot down, though, during the war. But, like I said, they shot down 71, so they actually did better number-wise. You know, it's kind of a small little fractional thing, but they did do well. What else do I know about this plane? Overall, this plane shot down totally from 65 to 72 143 enemy aircraft and helicopters and other assorted vehicles that made their way into the air. So this was a very effective plane in the North Vietnamese Air Force. So it did its job well, and was a plane that kind of shook up the U.S. because they tried to dogfight this, and they should not have done that. A lot of really expensive, fancy, all-weather capable aircraft were shut down by basically a cannon-armed day fighter, which the only big bit of technology in it was its radar-guided gun sight, which helped the cannon to lock on, which made it an effective plane, relying on its guns and the pilot's ability to fly a very maneuverable aircraft in a combat. Oh, anything else that I could say about this? It was not designed, I mentioned this before, to be a dogfighting plane. It's designed to intercept bombers, but because of the way the nature of combat changed, and it changed like daily during the 60s, it wound up becoming a dogfighter against larger, more sophisticated aircraft, and it was able to shoot them down. And you can see the kind of philosophy that and experience they gained by fighting the U.S. These types of planes, which basically influenced the design of the F-16 and planes that come out later to be able to dogfight and do pull tight G's in a tight dogfight to counter your enemy. And like I said, it was prevalent with this, and so was history. MiG 17 Fresco, Cobi 132nd scale. This is in North Vietnamese markings. Oh, and let me pull the, you can see the pilot a little bit better there. But definitely this is a Cobi kit. If you get a chance to buy it and build it. It's durable. The landing gear comes off and on pretty easily. And it does have a stand too. Where did I put the stand? I think over here. Yep. A nice stand for it. And I will put it in my beautiful shelf system behind me after I do the next video. But I will do a video on how this would have worked and reacted against the F-104, the Starfighter, and similar planes. Like I said, I wish I had a Phantom model because I know this plane actually shot down F-4 Phantoms. I tried to dogfight it. And I've seen an F-4 Phantom fly in an air show when I was a kid. And they're an amazing, very loud, very fast aircraft, and way too big. So I've seen one of these fly in an air show too, to go and try to slow turn dogfight something like this, and it had pretty strong cannon. It can knock your butt out of the sky. But that's it for this. I hope I didn't bore anybody. I hope I wasn't too lucidly kind of just wandering around. I just kind of amazed by this thing, the color scheme, and it was kind of a fun build. I do have something I do want to show you. Oh, I went playing on Temu, and Temu has all types of Chinese brands. They have Semblo, which is aircraft, and I'm going to be building a J-35 fighter plane. I just opened it up. It's in a bag. I think I paid $14, $20 for this thing. If you had got it at one of the brick stores, you'd be paying a lot more, because this is supposedly like the premier brand from China. The quality of Lego and Cobi, and I think that Sembro does do some contract production for Lego, so we'll see when I build this. But I will have this one done, and we'll do a video on this. The video on the J-35 will be a bit longer because I'm gonna put more into it than just talking about the history of the plane and stuff. But basically, my feeling on doing these Chinese models versus Cobi or Brickmania Lego-based one, but still, I think Cobi's are the best because you want the best detail, most realistic, and Cobi is the best for that. But anyway, that'll be the end of this video. I hope you liked it, and I will have that video with the dogfighting with this plane done tomorrow, and I'll start working on the J35. What I think I'll do progress reports on it. I'll build it to a certain point, and then I'll make a video on it, and then I'll do an overall video when I'm done. I found my other digital camera, and I don't know, I might do one of me building it, but then it's stop motion, and we'll see how far as editing and stuff I need to do. Otherwise, thanks. Sorry this video was a little bit too long, but I'm glad I got it out. Hope everybody's having a good day and staying warm. Bye.